apparently we have some questions about meat. I'm
Mhm.
not exactly sure what questions and how they're asking, so I'm going to pass you over to Pat in a second. Hello, Wellness Warriors. Welcome to Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet. Pat Chat Edition. I'm Violet.
And I'm Pat. We had a couple questions about the importance of meat in a
Okay.
diet, and whether like if in relation to vegetable, I would say. So, dear Miss Violet, are you saying that eating healthy and appropriately is mostly eating meat and fats? Carnivore, right? Is it?
Wow.
It's a good
So I honestly want
introduction.
to say yes. So here's the thing.
Hmm.
I'm now, after almost 3 years of eating healthy, getting to the point where I realize that the more research I do, the more I'm being made to understand that everything that we need to keep our body functioning correctly can be gotten from meat and fat. If we eat, nose
Good.
to tail. So if I'm willing to eat all the animal, that means the brain, that means the heart,
The liver,
that means all
the
the internal
organs.
organs,
Mm.
that means the skin, if I'm willing to eat all the animal, the cartilage, right? Now I'm pretty good at cartilage. I'm pretty good at the muscle meats. I'm pretty good at that's about it.
Yeah.
So cartilage and muscle meats I'm really good at. All
But
the other internal organs I struggle.
but you struggle, but you also have like your iron. You have to be
Yes.
careful with your iron.
Right, that's why I struggle, right?
Okay,
Because
yeah, yeah.
I'm
But it's not.
allergic to
Yeah,
certain
it's not because of the
yeah.
taste.
So it's well
Oh,
okay, so here's the thing. We have to be careful. When your body is trying to stop you from eating something that's harming you, it will make it taste bad. Like your brain will just start making this taste bad, right? Every time we have this, I get sick. And so from a very young age, red meat started to taste like really gross to me. Right? I shouldn't say from a very when I got into my teen years, actually. I used to love it before that. And then when I got into my teen years, it was just like it started to be, which I think is probably because my body was becoming overloaded over all the years of eating something that I shouldn't have been eating. That being said, it's not because I eat veg that it means that I don't still understand that it's not the best thing for me. It's me trying to balance the fact that I cannot eat nose to tail because when I eat those other things, I get a huge reaction. So compared to Pat,
mm,
who can eat nose to tail, and he wouldn't have the reaction that I have, right? So for example, if he eats liver, he's fine.
mm.
When I eat liver, I'm on the couch for a week.
But at the same time, I do choose to eat veg because I'm somebody that likes. I, I probably
The
would
taste?
do, yeah, the taste. I probably would do fine with just a big steak in my plate, but I still like I do still like avocados, salad, lettuce. I know with like Vlog's videos that probably they're not mandatory in my diet. But I know also, like
Probably.
according to Dr. Bergs, for example, that promotes like your 7 to 10 cups of salad, that there's some nutrients that if you don't eat nose to tail, that you get from the vegetables, the low glycemic vegetables.
And so this is where it becomes
So,
interesting, right? Because in your situation, the question is it smarter for me to start eating some liver and start eating some kidney and start eating, or is it smarter for me to keep eating the carby stuff? I can't do
mm,
that, but you can. So
mhm.
it's like, it's a question of, am I doing what's better for my health or am I doing what's fun? I always encourage you guys, do what's better for your health. The truth is, I still eat some veg because in my situation, I kind of have to. If I could eat just meat, I probably would be carnivore right now. That's just the truth. But I recognize that for me, it's not going to work. Now, even with that being said, I go long periods of time with minimal veg, and I will throw them in when I feel like myself starting to be like, okay, off kilter a little bit. It's like, okay, I'll eat some salad. I'll eat some veg that I'll try to fill in the gaps. I'll eat some, I do eat olives regularly. I do eat avocado regularly. Those are the two things that I allow myself. But besides that, like every other vegetable gets put on my plate kind of as I see that I'm feeling kind of off.
It's hard to understand veggies are not included in the healthy, proper way. Like for me, I wouldn't go like to say that. I think like low glycemic veggies still have their place in a low carb balanced diet. Uh,
Of
yeah.
course, if you're doing a low carb balanced diet, low glycemic vegetables will have its place. The question he asked me is carnivore even better? When you consider that carbohydrates are unnecessary to eat, my body makes them, then I have to agree that carnivore is better. Am I saying everybody should be carnivore? I'm not saying that. Am I saying I would be carnivore if I could? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You take from that what I just said, what you will take from that, right? My situation is specific.
Okay. But the big caveat here is eating nose to tail. Like if you don't eat nose to tail, you probably will miss on some nutrients that your body needs, right?
Yeah.
But could you? Okay. So my question then becomes: could you supplement if you don't? If you're focusing on muscle meat, can you supplement?
Can I point something out before we go there?
Okay.
How many people do you know who are not keto, who are not carnivore, who eat standard American diet that consists of hamburgers and french fries, chips and cookies, and that when you talk to them about vegetables and fruits, they're like, ugh, I don't like those things. Why are we acting like that's different? Right? There's lots of people on the planet who, if they would talk to their doctor, the doctor's gonna say, well, you should eat vegetables and you should eat fruit.
Yeah.
But the fact is that they're fueling their entire day on junk food, cookies, chips, coffee, chocolate, all of it, those caramel macchiato blah blahs, all the garbage foods, all the garbage foods that they're fueling themselves on. Their coffee. I said coffee because I meant for the energy, because you're giving yourself garbage and then you have to put coffee in to give yourself the boost. But they're not eating fruits and vegetables. Like, so I want everybody to think about this, because honestly, I feel like we don't allow ourselves to see that if you really sit down, and this is why I can say this because I did it. Before I started keto, I logged what I was actually eating. The crap that I was actually eating. I didn't pull any punches. I didn't pretend. I don't pretend with me. If I'm going to do something, I'm doing it or I'm not doing it. That's the way that I work. And know that I was actually having an improvement, I had to first start with, oh, Violet, what are you eating? And I did that for a week. I just ate normally and I logged it all. All the garbage, disgusting foods that I look back on that I was eating, calling it food, I logged it all. 4,000, 3,000 calories was not strange to see in my list, because I was eating cookies, I was eating chocolate, I was eating chips. Well, I wasn't eating chips, but I was eating chocolate and cookies, soda. So we need to be careful. Like, I mean, I understand the question he's asking, because he's trying to be healthy now and wondering, shouldn't I have fruits and vegetables? But when you weren't being healthy before, did you have fruits and vegetables? Right? So it's like this thing where we're looking and saying, is it that I'm just going to change what I'm doing, but I'm still putting things in there that are harming me? Or am I changing what I'm doing and I'm doing the thing that makes the most sense to keep me on track? If it makes the most sense to keep you on track, that you're eating broccoli and cabbage and cauliflower and like all those low glycemic vegetables, like if I needed those to stay on track, because otherwise I felt like I didn't eat enough, I would be eating them. I've gotten to the point where I can eat, I mean, honestly, the amount of egg salad that I had for supper last night, I think most people would have been like, that's all you're eating? I ate it. It was all I had for the day and I was done, right? I wasn't hungry anymore. I put it in the fridge. Why am I going to force myself to finish eating something when I'm not hungry anymore? It's not logical. But anybody else would have looked at that and said, that's all you're eating? Yes, it's all I ate. And we are 20-ish hours later. I'm probably going to eat in about 4 hours. I haven't had anything but a coffee. One coffee, not even two. I had one coffee today with about how many grams of fat in it? Like two tablespoons? 2 tablespoons of fat in it. That's all I've had today. Please don't confuse what you do to entertain your palate with what you're doing to fuel and build your body. It's 2 different things. We have to be very careful when we're doing that, because if I confuse those 2 ideas, carbs will sneak back into your life.
So back to the question, carnivore would be better than keto if you're eating nose to tail. like that's the conclusion we
If
can
you're
draw.
eating nose to tail. So if you're not able to eat nose to tail, or you don't
Then,
want to eat nose to tail, there's a lot of people don't like those
Yeah.
things, then
Yeah.
allow yourself. Eat low carb
low
vegetables
carb.
and just keep it in the numbers where your body can manage. And honestly, check on yourself, please. If you are eating 20 grams or less and you're still having reactions, go down to 15.
Mm.
If you're eating 15 and you're still having reactions, go down to 10. Check on yourself. You might figure out that you need to maybe allow some of those other foods in your life that you not, some liver or something that you're not so fond of, because you need to be lower. But check on yourself, right? Don't just assume that because they tell you vegetables are healthy, that that's the only way to do this. I want you to do what makes the most sense all the way around. Not a doctor. Talk to your doctor about it too. If you guys have a keto-friendly doctor, a carnivore-friendly doctor, talk to your doctor. But I also want everyone to think about it. Were you eating junky, crappy stuff before and calling yourself healthy? There's a lot of people who are thin, eating junk, and call themselves healthy.
So the question is, do you need keto if you fast? And like I think we pretty showed the answer is yes. Keto is a lifestyle, and fasting is a tool you have at your disposal to help you even get more healthy.
So what I'm going to say there is keep in mind why I do what I do and what each thing is. Keto talks about the foods that I'm eating. So the question is, do I need keto if I fast? Well, all keto is saying is that I'm not allowing myself to toxic levels of carbohydrate in my diet. Fasting doesn't change the fact that toxic levels of carbohydrate are going to affect me physically. Fasting talks about my body trying to clean up. I know some people use fasting as a weight loss tool. I don't encourage it. Multiple reasons, but the most important one being psychologically, like when there's an emotional component to eating food and to not eating food. And if I'm saying I'm overeating a bunch of junky stuff, and then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to fast away the fat, what am I doing there? I'm playing with myself. I'm lying to myself. I'm acting like eating this stuff is okay, even though there's other repercussions to eating this junky stuff, right? Because carbohydrates have an impact whether your weight goes up or not. We've all seen this, right? I was at a perfectly normal weight with inflammation out the wazoo, right? Your blood pressure went through the roof. It's not only about weighing the right thing, it's also what's my body going to do with that excessive amount of carb. Fasting, if you are going to fast, there's a lot of great reasons. It helps your body to clean up. It helps your body to engage in what do you call it? Apoptosis, which is about new cell and renewals and all. I can't even begin because I'm not a doctor, but I know from listening to the doctors and watching a lot of other channels that talk about the science of fasting, there's so much more benefit you're getting than losing weight. Weight loss just happens to happen because your body needs to keep fueling itself. So it needs to pull some fat out of storage, right? So let's be careful and not mix up the two things. I eat to fuel and build, and I should be doing that with the cleanest possible energy that I can and the cleanest building blocks that I can. Don't get it twisted. The protein that might be in a cookie is not the same that's going to be in a piece of meat. The energy that's coming from a cookie is not the same energy that's coming from a healthy fat source. Keep that in mind.
If there's something we can make too between keto and fasting, is that keto is a much better diet if you want to add fasting as a tool to your lifestyle. Since you're not spiking your insulin and your hunger hormones all the time, I think it's much easier fasting on keto, on a super low carb lifestyle, than on the standard American diet.
Well, that's because you're not chasing carbs anymore, right? I mean, this is the other interesting thing is that if I'm still eating carbs, and this is where it's frustrating to me because I'll listen to people talk about fasting and they're forcing themselves to fast. Can I just guarantee you guys, like everyone, if y'all want to think about this, I never have forced myself to fast. I got to 1 meal a day gradually, comfortably. I've been at 1 meal a day for over a year and a half now, maybe even getting close to 2 years that I've been at 1 meal a day, and it doesn't take me anything to do this. I can walk into a bakery, I can walk into a grocery store, I can be in front of chocolate, used to be my favorite thing, zero cravings. Not even like tempted. None. Doesn't matter to me. What do I see when I look at those things? The poop emoji.
Poison.
Right? That's what I see. Right? Because that's what it is. I want everyone to understand that if you're fasting and you're fighting with yourself, it's because carbohydrates are still highly active in your life and it's pulling you, right? You're hungrier when you're living a carb-laden life than if you're not. So I agree with you that, of course, if you're on a keto lifestyle and you've been doing it for a while and you've gotten to the part where you're no longer feeling those cravings and pull towards junk food, then starting to fast at that point, I wouldn't even say that. Starting to allow yourself more time between meals at that point is going to be easier. Let's start there. How about we do what's easy before we try to do what's hard? I don't know one person who ran a marathon when they just picked up jogging yesterday, right? Like, work your way up to it.
So another question we have, I'm not really a vegetable eater, but I also forced myself to eat more veggies when I started my weight loss journey. Is it still healthy to not eat veggies and just eat protein and fat? So forcing yourself to eat veggies?
So here's the thing I'm going to say about that. Because again, if you are eating healthier, so that means I've put down all the junk food. I've put down all the processed foods and I'm eating clean. One of the things that I noticed is that I didn't have to force myself to eat vegetables anymore. Your taste changed so quickly. And so I was eating vegetables happily. Now, of course, I was eating the vegetables that I like, right? But did I end up branching out into other things? I did not like avocado before. I hated cauliflower. I did not like asparagus. I'm trying to go through all the different things that I eat now. Oh my God, artichoke hearts. I mean, like, there's so many things that I eat now that I didn't actually like before, and I like them now. Why did that happen? My taste change. So do you need to force yourself to eat them? I mean, I would, when I go back to, not even if I go look back at how I started this, I started with the vegetables I liked. And I just allowed myself to eat those alongside some meat. The salad that I like, alongside some meat. And as I was doing that, I realized, wow, okay, I was liking the vegetable more and more and more. And then I started to add other things. Oh, let me try this vegetable. Let me try that vegetable. Right. Partly because we were told by Dr. Berg and other people that it's important to get 7 to 10 cups. And I was trying to hit those numbers. But then I also learned that, okay, that's not so necessary. But here's what's great. Starting my weight loss trajectory that way and eating all those vegetables did allow me to stick with it. Today, I eat what makes sense for me. Am I going to tell you not to eat vegetables if you're eating them and you're liking it? No. But you're telling me you can't stand them. How about just picking 1 or 2 that you actually like and starting there and see what happens, right? Because I'm more interested in you finding a plate combination that allows you to eat the meal and not snack on nuts later, not snack on cheese later, not snack on keto treats later, because that's going to hurt you more than having a nice plate of meat and vegetables.
Once you get the sugar out of your life and get rid of sugar, like I feel like your taste buds are recalibrating somehow, because like you said, the stuff that we hated before, we come to like, and we come to like avocados are, like, for me, I don't even mind. I'm pretty like easy on food. I like everything, but like I'm just trying to, but for example, like I sometimes, like, if I want to like treat myself, I know you're not gonna agree with that, but like I do buy like dark chocolate, but we're talking about 95 and up, like percent cacao chocolate. If I give that to my son, like like he's gonna tell me it tastes horrible, but I do like the taste.
The other thing I'm going to say is that sweet. You don't like the vegetables right now because they don't taste great, but you'll be surprised how when I eat broccoli, for example, it tastes sweet to me. When I eat not asparagus. Asparagus has a bit of it's not as sweet, and not cauliflower, but broccoli, yes. When I eat cashews, oh, how sweet they taste to me. There's certain things that you're right. We calibrate in our taste because we're not eating cookies from the grocery store, because we're not eating chocolate bars from the. So if I'm not eating chocolate, I'm sure, like, I haven't had chocolate in over probably a year. Wow, by this point that I haven't had chocolate. If I would eat that 99% chocolate you're talking about, it probably would taste sweet to me. Right? So there's this thing that we need to also help ourselves to understand, is that it's a journey, it's a process. So don't be annoyed with yourself that you don't like vegetables right now. And even at that, if you tell yourself you don't like vegetables, you're not going to eat them. You're not going to want to eat them. You're not going to see them as a potentially fun way to make this plate. You're just going to see them as, oh my God, I'm forcing myself. And if that's what you're doing, you're not going to enjoy that meal anyway. I would more encourage you to, whatever those vegetables are, as long as they're low glycemic, to try to find some low glycemic vegetables that you actually do like and allow yourself to eat them. And again, give yourself time. Like, I didn't start loving avocado like the day after starting keto. Like, it took a while, like, for me to actually figure out like how to do that. And the truth is, I started off only eating guacamole. Now I can actually eat avocado with salt on it, and I actually can eat it and I find it tastes good. But that took a while. I was eating guacamole first.
That's true. Yeah.
Right? Until I figured out the whole nightshades thing, and then I stopped putting the tomatoes in it. But like, so just for clarity too, it's like, it's not an overnight thing. It's something that comes to you. The better you eat, the better your body starts to shift and pushes you towards healthier and healthier foods.
So far it's pretty clear that I think meat is meat is an important part of our diet. So do you need meat to be healthy?
Absolutely. Now that one I can say absolutely. Meat has all the amino acids that your body needs. So you, like, eating meat gives you the building blocks. Eating fat gives you the building blocks. So you actually need meat, so protein, amino acids. What you actually need is amino acids and fat, right? It's needed to build your body. It's needed for neurotransmitters. It's like everything that's happening in us. Again, if we never ate a carb, could your body still get all these things from meat? Yes.
Well, we have some cases of healthy vegans or vegetarians. You're gonna have that in the comments.
So,
hey, what about vegan?
Okay, so what I'm going to say is this. Of course, if I go from a standard American diet to vegetarian, vegan, my health is going to improve until it stops improving, right? And my health is improving not because of the vegetables I'm eating, because of the processed foods I'm no longer eating. Now, do I see vegans and vegetarians who are still unhealthy? Sure, because they're eating a lot of processed foods, right? But when you have those strict vegans and vegetarians that are eating whole foods, and their health improves until it stops improving, because again, you're at least giving your body now whole foods, real foods. But by not having the protein from animals, at some point we don't have enough. I think it's leucine, and there's other things that we don't get. And I'm not a doctor, so check with the doctors on this topic. But my only point is that I've known a lot of vegans and vegetarians who eventually had to stop being vegan and vegetarian because their health was being affected. And they had been in that vegan vegetarian for years before they started to live the negatives of not eating meat. Your body is really good at recycling. Is the other thing that we don't seem to understand. So it's not because I'm vegetarian and I'm going 2, 3, 4 years and everything is good, that means that my body isn't getting protein, the right protein. It's breaking down the cells in your body that shouldn't be there anyway to get that protein that it needs, until eventually there's no more things to break down, right? So we need to be careful with that. But you know what? I think the other thing that I want you to think about is we cannot trick our body. Like, protein is really important. Amino acids are really important. We need all the ones that we need. And if we cannot make them, we need to eat them. And if you would need to eat 4 pounds of something, of a vegetable, to get what you need, or an ounce of meat to get what you need to think about all the carbohydrates in that 4 pounds of veg. What are you doing with it? Right? Your body has to do something with it. So we have to think about that. We have to be clear with ourselves. We cannot trick our body. Wellness warriors, always so happy that you guys come back, and all the new people. I'm impressed that we're getting so many new people. So thank you.
And
I want to know.
And like and subscribe to the channel.
Absolutely, thank you. And guess what, guys? I want to hear how you guys are incorporating meat, veg, what changes have happened in your life. Put that in the description below. So there are some videos on the screen right there that are going to help you to improve your health, physical and mental. I want to thank you for watching Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet, Pat Chat Edition. We love making these videos for you guys. Can't wait to talk to you again next week.
Talk to you next week.